In today's video, I'm trying a brand new technique on furniture. Will I be able to achieve the perfect look, or should I have left this look on the walls? Stay tuned to find out. Hey everybody, welcome back to Furniture Flipping Teacher. I'm Lauren and we are on Flipmas Day 11. I can't believe it. Can you believe it? We're almost to Christmas time. But today we've got some nightstands to flip. These nightstands have definitely seen better days, and it is a very rare occurrence that I cannot remember how much I got these pieces for. It's been a little while since I got them, so typically I wouldn't pay more than, a certain amount. So we're just gonna call it $50 for these nightstands. They've definitely seen better days. We've got some water damage up here on the top, some dog chewed corners down here. So we've got our work cut out for us. Let's remove the hardware. So I'm not gonna save this hardware for this project. I do have all of it, but it's just a little outdated for me and it's not gonna go along with the look that I'm achieving in the end. I'm gonna go ahead and take these drawers out as we go along to clean. We got some Benadryl. Anybody need some Benadryl? Comment down below, what is the weirdest thing that you have found in a piece of furniture when you're flipping it? I feel like mine is probably some sort of underwear. I think one time though, we did find like a PlayStation or Xbox controller, like the full-on controller, which was interesting. You never know what you're gonna find in other people's furniture. That is for sure. So I was gonna label the drawers, but they're already labeled for me on the back here. One of them's 109 and one of them's like 28 or something. Sometimes that'll happen, which is really nice because that's just an extra step that we don't have to do. But now we definitely need to give these things a clean. Okay, Dawn dish soap to the rescue for this piece. Got dust and a lot of dust inside. Other than that though, it doesn't look too dirty. Cleaning is finished up and I'm gonna rinse it all off. All right, we're clean. Now we are gonna do a little bit of deconstruction. All right, so for some deconstruction, we are gonna be taking off the little feet of these nightstands and then giving them some different ones later on. So typically with legs like this, there is just gonna be some screws that they are screwed into. And so all you gotta do is undo those screws and then see what else needs to be undone. I thought these were gonna be easy to take off. Why would I think that? Nothing's ever easy. Not 100% what I wanted to do. That's more like it. Goodness. Kind of went a little crazy on this first nightstand, but I glued it. We're gonna repair it. But now I know how these are connected, so it's gonna be a lot easier, hopefully, to unscrew these. And then I just need to like wedge them off because they're kind of connected by staples and things that I can't see. Okay, so now that we've got those little feetsies off, I am gonna do kind of a mixture of some sanding and repairing on the bottoms here because it just didn't quite go to plan. So I'm gonna sand everything down here smooth and then do some Bondo repairs on these little cracked areas that I accidentally cracked when I was removing those. And then we'll be able to also sand the top with the water damage as well. So this is the water damage area that I was talking about. It's pretty bad. And the reason I know it's water damage is because it's very bubbly. It's the underneath the top layer of veneer is particle board, which really absorbs water. And so whenever there's water put on top of it, that's what happens, is it starts to bubble up. So we are gonna smooth everything out with a 120 grit sandpaper, and then depending on what it looks like after that, we'll then have to kind of make some repairs, because there will most likely be some little dents and dings, and then we'll repair it with the Bondo. All right, so like I said, we're gonna be doing some repairs, and those repairs are just like a couple of cracks that I made while we were removing the legs. There's one on this side and there's one on this side. And then also where I reinforced the sides here, I put some countersunk screws, but I'll just go ahead and cover those with Bondo so it won't even be visible. And then also I'll be flipping it around and doing it on the top as well. So Bondo, as you guys probably know, is a 2-part putty, and it comes in this large can, lasts you a lot of projects. And then it comes with some cream hardener, and this is going to make the putty part harden. Once it gets mixed up, it probably hardens in like fully probably about 15 to 20 minutes, but definitely starts hardening immediately when you start to mix them together. So you kind of want to work pretty quickly when you are using the Bondo. We are gonna prime now, and because I busted through the finish a lot and right underneath is particle board and a lot of exposed particle board, we're gonna need to use an oil-based primer. And the reason we're going to use an oil-based primer is because it's going to seal off any of that exposed particle board and no longer allow water to seep into it. So if you've got pieces with some water damage, sand it smooth and prime with an oil-based primer. So that includes Bin shellac-based primer or Kills oil-based primer. Both of them sort of do the same thing, and it'll also help to block any bleed through that may occur. And I'm just gonna use a little foam roller here to roll it on everywhere, and then potentially a chip brush in those areas where I maybe can't reach with the roller. All right, the primer is dried on there now, so we can move on to the fun part, which is painting. And I am gonna be trying a very new technique, at least new to me. I've seen people do this on walls, on basically walls, that's honestly it. I could be unaware of someone else who's tried it on furniture, but we are going to attempt Venetian plaster on furniture. So Up Paint actually has Venetian plaster. You can get this at Michael's, you can get it at the link down below in the description, but they have some Venetian plaster that I figured what better time to try this. We are hosting the furniture flipping challenge with Up Paint, and there's a few weeks left to enter. The deadline is January 2nd, so if you need more information about how you can enter to win $1,000, we're gonna be giving away 3 people, giving away $1,000 to 3 people. So the link is down below in the description for you to have more information on that. The submissions are rolling in, and you guys, the competition is just only heating up from here. So if you want to get enrolled, definitely check out that link. Anyway, I am going to be trying out the Up Paint Venetian plaster. So this is the color Foggy, and it's kind of a really pretty green color. So for the first layer, I am going to just be rolling it on with my paint roller. So here it is, super pretty. I'm gonna go ahead and use the Up Paint roller tray and roller here, and we're gonna do a first coat. This could take up to 3 coats, for sure 2, because after the first one, that's when we'll kind of get into the actual Venetian plastering technique. All right, so we're gonna dump some in here. It's very thick, very, very thick. Then we're just going to roll it on with the foam roller I've got here. All right, so this stuff is very thick. Generally, I say, you know, roll it on or brush it on in the same direction all the way the same, like on the same side, but this actually tells you to do it in all sorts of different directions. So that's kind of what I'm doing with my roller, just rolling it out, making sure we're covering up all the white, but then going back and kind of going in all directions across the entire surface. The color is perfection. All right, so the first coat here is finished and it's dry. And I was just looking back at the directions, and while I was supposed to put it on with the mini roller, I was also supposed to use this trowel and kind of like smooth it out as I went, but now it's all dry, so we're just gonna do that on the second coat, and I'm gonna go ahead and start that now. So what I'm gonna do is use this trowel and grab some plaster onto it, and then we're just going to be scraping it along the surface of the nightstand. We are on to coat number 3, and what I'm gonna do for coat 3 is actually just take my tool wherever I put it. We're gonna take my trowel and we're just going to take the plaster and put it right on with my trowel and sort of do different movements along the surface and see how it comes out. I'm kind of just winging this, you guys. I did watch a few different Venetian plaster videos, and that really helped me kind of nail down the technique. But since I don't really want like start-stop marks in the actual on the surface, I'm starting on the side or the top or the bottom or this side to make that little motion. So I'll start it kind of like this and spread it across, but then I'll start it off of the surface to kind of pull it across. And basically all I'm doing is spreading it thin and making it a nice even thin coat across the surface. This is definitely not meant to have like a perfect flawless look. It's supposed to have some different texture. It's still gonna be really smooth, but it's going to have like a textured feel and look to it as well. The different heights of the Venetian plaster will sort of give it a different dimension in those areas. I'm excited to see how this last coat dries because as of right now, it's kind of one of those trust the process projects because I'm like, what in the world is this supposed to look like? You guys are probably thinking the same thing. But we're going with it, and I'm hoping for a great result. All right, I think I'm gonna stop there. I feel like you could just keep going and going and going and going and going and going with this technique, but you don't want to overdo it, and I think that I'm going to just stop there and move on to the next side, and then we will continue on around all the sides of the nightstands. All right, we are getting the Venetian look now. So it is relatively smooth, but the finishing touch on the Venetian plaster is actually to take your clean trowel and then burnish the existing finish. So that just means that you're gonna rub this against there, and it's going to really get you a buttery smooth finish. So I'm just gonna try that, and yeah, I don't know, hopefully it looks good. I mean, it's definitely getting a lot smoother, but I feel like I like this look better. I don't know. That is after the burnishing. This is before the burnishing. Okay, so now that we've got the full Venetian plaster look achieved, which I like it. I think once these bases go on, it's gonna be better. But bear with me, we are going to create some bases for these nightstands. Since we took off the little feet, I think they still need to be elevated off the ground, but in a little bit more of a modern way. So we're gonna be using some 1x2s, red oak, and then some 2x2 for the little legs, but this is gonna be the support across. So I'm just gonna measure how long I need, and I think I want them to be inset just a little bit. So these are 26 wide. I think I want them to be like inset about a ½ inch. So we'll say 25 and then -3 inches because we need to accommodate for the actual legs itself, and each one is a 1.5. So we'll go 22 inches across, 14. So 17 inch across and 14 inch this way. And then once we cut those, we'll be able to cut the little legs as well, just making sure that everything fits before we put everything together officially. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut some 3.5 inch little feet for the bottom here. I think that they're actually like really cute when they're gonna go on, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna keep these the red oak color because I feel like it contrasts really well and complements the green tone. So we're gonna make 3 more of these for one nightstand. I'm just doing one nightstand at a time so that way I can make sure that it looks good and I don't waste a bunch of materials doing both and then not liking it. All right, we got our 4 legs. Let's go put them all together. Okay, so now that we've got all of our pieces, we're gonna be able to go ahead and make some pocket holes and get this base put together officially so that we can go ahead and connect it to the nightstand. So with that being said, similar to me creating the base in the last video in Flipmas number 9, I am going to be just creating some pocket holes in the straight pieces, and then we are going to be attaching them to the little feet before we attach them to the actual nightstand here. So I've got my Craig 520 Pro, and we've got our little measurement guide and the little pocket hole creator along with the collar. So these are 3/4 inch. So we're gonna go ahead and put this at the 3/4 inch mark. All right, now we are ready to connect everything together. I'm just gonna reinforce it with just a little bit of wood glue, and then we'll screw in the pocket hole screws as well. All right, the first base is complete. It's so cute. I am going to make some pocket holes now on this to attach to the bottom of the nightstand here. All right, we're about to put the base on, screw it all together. Okay, let's set her up. I love it. Next one. Base number 2 is done. Let's get it connected. All right, last step is the hardware. I got these really pretty knobs from Hobby Lobby, and they were $4 each. And I think that the dark shade of these is really going to complement the green and the brown underneath. Ta-da! We're finished with the nightstands, the Venetian plaster. It's done. Success. I will say that this is a style that you have to, like, someone has to desire and be okay with, because it is a little bit of an out there style. There is some texture, some different colorings because it is made of the Venetian plaster, but I think for my first time it was a pretty good success. I don't know, I feel like I wouldn't mind having something like this in my home. Like I said, you can see a lot of the texture and kind of like the depth of the different colors from the Venetian plaster and the way that it is applied. But I did learn a couple of things along the way that I wanted to share with you guys in case you have any desire to try and achieve this look on a piece of furniture that you may have. First thing that I would suggest is that your piece or pieces are absolutely flat. There's no curves, because these areas on the front, both the trim areas and the drawers, were very, very tricky. I ended up having to use my fingers a little bit here and there, which was fun, but I feel like I could have achieved an even better look if everything was flat. So that's something that I would highly recommend. Another thing that I would recommend would be to do the first layer the way that you did all of the other layers. So I had a little miscommunication when I was reading on the jar, the can of the Venetian plaster, and I thought I was just supposed to roll it on to get like that first layer. But truly, I should have rolled it and back troweled it with the trowel the first time. So we wouldn't have really gotten any of that roller texture that we kind of got in the beginning that then I had to worry about like kind of covering up throughout. So that is another suggestion, is make sure you're troweling it every single layer. It's very, you have to layer it to achieve the Venetian plaster look. I still don't think that this is perfect by any means. I could try again and get a totally different look. And so, I don't know, I think it was fun to try a new technique. I hope this inspires you guys to try a new technique, whether it be the Venetian plaster or something else. Try a new product, which reminds me that we are, like I said at the beginning of the video, we're hosting this flipping contest with Up Paint. And so I wanted to show you guys another way that you could utilize Up Paint to kind of up your game in the challenge. And if you haven't pulled the trigger and gotten yourself a piece of furniture to submit into the challenge to work on, definitely give it more thought, because it doesn't have to be anything, you know, so crazy. We just want you to be entered into the competition, join the fun. And we have a big announcement about the competition. We now have runner-up prizes, which are gonna be $150 gift cards to uppaint.com. So even if you don't win the grand prize of $1,000, there's still a chance for you to earn another prize. So get entered in there below. All the information is in the links below. Get registered, submit your project by January 2nd, and then we'll be announcing all of the winners and runner-ups on January 5th live here on our YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. Get out there, try something new. We'll see you in 2 days for number 12. We'll see you on the flip side.